Joining me live now, the Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume. I just want to pick up there where Georgie left off, Jane. Keith Woollahan saying that Labor's always used Multicultural Australia as a transaction. What does he mean by that? Do you agree?
That's a good question, Laura. Can I say one of the things that has given me great heart as I've been travelling around the country in the last 2 weeks, working on pre-poll and polling booths with candidates and volunteers, is just the extraordinary extent of Multicultural Australia that are now participating for the Liberal Party in handing out how to vote cards or, allowing us to access communities through different forums, because the Liberal Party has a series of values that represent Multicultural Australia: freedom and choice and personal responsibility, the primacy of family, the importance of small business and individual agency. That's what the Liberal Party stands for, and multicultural communities are now seeing their own values reflected in that. And that's why we're seeing such a broad and diverse range of people that are participating now in the political process on our side of the ledger in a way that I think we haven't seen before.
Let's talk about the polls then, because they've all been trending away from you, away from the coalition, away from Peter Dutton more specifically over the last 5 weeks. Why do you think that is? Do you have any empirical evidence that we're not seeing that might show that the polls are wrong? And how significant is this potential One Nation bump that you might get?
So we are not concentrating on the polls. We haven't done for the last 12, 18 months, and we're certainly not doing it now, because what we're hearing on the ground is very different to what we're seeing on headlines. The lived experience of Australians in the last 3 years is that they have gone backwards. They've been poorer under Labor, and certainly in the polls that I'm working on here in Victoria, the response has been visceral. Fury towards not just the Albanese government but the Allan government here about how their quality of life has dropped so far. Standards of living in Australia have gone backwards by around 9%. That's because their real disposable income has dried up over 3 years because of inflation, because of high interest rates, and because of higher taxes. And Australians out there are telling us that they know that they can't afford another 3 years of Labor. That's what we're hearing on the polling booths, which may not be reflected in the polls, but I think it will play out on Saturday night.
Okay, let's talk about your costings then, because I did note Anthony Albanese trying to make much of the facts, saying where are the coalition's costings when they'd only done theirs a little 12 hours before. But that, that's all part of the argy-bargy of the campaign, I suppose. So we can't blame them for that. Well, we're finally going to get your ledger tomorrow. Will things add up, and are you going to give us more than just these efficiency dividends out of the public service that we saw from Labor yesterday?
Laura, I can assure you that our costings are imminent, and not only will they add up, but they will show that we will have a better bottom line than Labor, a significantly better bottom line than Labor, and that we will be working towards a much stronger and more resilient economy. I found it extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary in the last couple of days that the Prime Minister could show such a glass jaw at criticism by a ratings agency, an international ratings agency, that said because of the poor management of the economy, our credit rating is at risk. Now, the Coalition are very proud to have maintained a AAA credit rating even throughout those very dangerous, very volatile COVID years. And yet our credit rating is now at risk, even in a period of relative stability under Anthony Albanese, even in a period where there was record windfall revenue gains because of high commodity prices. Our credit rating is now at risk, and Anthony Albanese is in denial if he thinks that this isn't because of his poor economic management.
I want to talk about your costings for just a moment. When you say imminent, I'm assuming tomorrow, but are they this afternoon?
Look, I should be really clear. Costings can't be released until people have finished announcing policies. Even Labor, up until a couple of days ago, were announcing $2 billion worth of payments to the states for more social housing because their social housing policies
can be done at any time.
But the costings package certainly can't be. You've got to have a final number, and the final number is what will be delivered imminently. When I say imminently, it obviously has to be done within a certain period of time before the election.
But not on the
We're running out of days, so you can imagine it will be very, very close. No, it won't be on Friday afternoon.
Okay. So
I can guarantee you it's not Friday. It's not Friday afternoon.
Can we
I think you can safely assume that is the case.
All right, thank you. So are you going to be upfront with Australians? Because, I mean, we sit here every day. I sit here every day looking at the promises being made. And if we are completely honest with our audience, both sides, you and the government, whoever is in power in the next term is going to have to cut. Are you going to be upfront with Australians tomorrow?
We've already said that we have opposed a number of measures by the government, whether it be the Housing Australia Future Fund, $10 billion to not build a house, whether it be the Rewiring the Nation Fund, which is there to provide 28,000 kilometres of poles and wires, you know, crisscrossing the nation, the equivalent of twice around the circumference of country. We don't think we need that. Are we going to learn
something new tomorrow, though? Because Housing Australia Future Fund is off budget and Rewiring the Nation, yep, you're not going to do as much, but you're still going to have to do some of it because you still have renewables in your final energy plan. So besides a public service in Canberra,
of production
are you going to have to cut elsewhere outside of those umbrellas?
All of our costings will be made very clear tomorrow, but what I can guarantee you is that there is a better bottom line than Labor, which is really important because let's face it, we want to return the fiscal guardrails back to the budget. We have to get the budget back to structural balance at some stage, and a credible pathway to get there is so important. We want to make sure that we pay down debt, building those fiscal buffers, those economic buffers that the IMF, that the OECD, that the rating agencies have all told us are so important. What you'll see when our costings are released will be consistent with everything that Angus Taylor and I and the whole economic team have been saying for 3 years, that Labor has been managing the economy poorly, that they have kept inflation too high for too long because of their persistent spending, that they have wasted windfall revenue gains by frittering them away or embedding them in recurrent expenditure, which is highly irresponsible. A coalition government has historically brought a budget back into balance and paid down debt, and we will be able to do so again, but we won't be able to do so unless on Saturday people vote, put number one next to their Liberal candidate, because we cannot afford another 3 years of Labor, not this generation and not the next generation.
All right, Jane, only a couple of days to go. We'll see you soon. Good luck.